If I'm not mistaken, this is that rail that Fabian Alomar board slides in the Z video. It's like absolutely perfect. 11 stairs, mellow, square, not super high. But now you would land at this gate post. And I guess this gate post and the impossibility of skating this rail speaks to the fact that this entire complex, which was designed in the mid-1970s as a sort of traditional town square, is now a place that you would want to keep people from hanging out at. And I guess nothing speaks more eloquently to the failure of this as a public space than these posted signs saying that the mall area is closed to the public. And then when you look down, you realize what an amazingly skatable, non-public space this mall would have been. There's all these like circular volcano quarter pipe planters. And this whole complex is so weird when you really look at it. You have these old rusting copper postmodern pagodas on one end. And then you have this dandelion fountain that is so similar to the same kind of dandelion water fountain that you had at the Alcoa building behind Hubba Hideout. And it's actually really crazy that this strange, confusing labyrinth of shaded and open spaces and empty corridors leads to the brick quarter pipes. All right, so City Hall East, which is an annex to the 1928 City Hall building across the street, was designed by the architects Stanton and Stockwell in 1972. And this multi-level plaza with red brick tile, stone ledges, and these quarter pipes was designed by the firm Cornell, Bridges, Troller, and Hazlitt. And again, the idea was that this would be this traditional kind of town square, ironically built in a part of Los Angeles that had once been a vibrant, centrally planned urban community. That was all cleared away by the late 1960s, and this new government building was built in its place. I don't think anyone visiting this plaza is here to go shopping. But again, I think like in the early 1970s, retail was thought of as this ideal solution to creating a new urban space. I think anyone who's ever had the opportunity to actually skate this spot will understand very quickly that this is the sort of spot that gained popularity in the era of skateboarding when boards still had very short noses. And I think of some of the earliest footage that I can remember is like Jeff Hartzell skating here in Rubbish Heap. There's an episode of Skate TV with like Guy and Rudy and Gabriel skating here doing frontside pivots on the quarter pipe. And yet, because this is this amazing looking skate spot that promises all this weird potential if you learn how to skate these quarter pipes, it remains this sort of lodestar destination for skateboarders and I guess parkour people alike. These brick quarter pipes are on one side of Temple Street, and on the other side of Temple Street, you have the Fletcher Boron Square, which is, again, this public square that's provisionally built over this subterranean shopping mall. And there's a ton of like ledges and ledges going off stairs and movable benches. There's those two curved handrails that I think Chad Muska first grinded, and then immediately right after that, Adam McNatt, after he drug a bench up to the rail. That whole side of the plaza hasn't really gotten much love until recently. Jim Greco filmed his 11-minute glass carousel part, which is this beautiful love story to the potential of a skate spot. He absolutely unlocked that spot and skated some of the like harshest ledges in Los Angeles. And look at this ledge. This is so chalky and chunky and absolutely unskateable. Jim Greco did a backside 360 to frontside 50-50 on this ledge. And this isn't an out ledge. This is more like a punishment. I mean, nobody should skate this thing. If you didn't skate and you were describing this, you might almost describe this as if this were Love Park. You know, you have these like ledges with these benches on the inside when the ledges cut back, and these ledges serve as planters for the trees. But then you look down at the rugged aggregate concrete and the rough brick sections, and it's like This is like Love Park if Love Park were terrible and unskateable. This is not smooth or sealed, it's rough and harsh. And that's fairly consistent with early 1970s design. You were building in an era where you expected to be bombed. You're building these kind of like subterranean bunkers, and the materials don't have to be pretty. Just looking at the like edge of where there was once a lip, they don't make bricks like this. This thing was battered by almost 40 years of people doing like backside disasters and frontside pivots. And Jason Lee's backside nude eel, his little like no-handed nose pick that he does here in Video Days, is fucking gnarly. Daewon's ollie from the 4 stairs into the quarter pipe is psycho. And I absolutely love what like Jim Greco is doing now by paying tribute to these historic LA spots. Nobody unlocked this spot like Jim Greco. Ludwig's blunt to kickflip on this. These guys are doing these on like actual skateboards with actual noses and actual tails. Your nose and tail will scrape on the way up and on the way down at this spot. If you look at the building next to this plaza, you'll notice that each of those windows is scalloped with a similar quarter pipe-like transition from the window pane to the window frame. You have these dramatic curves like this bridge which spans Temple Street in this like very mellow arc, and underneath that bridge are these 2 beautiful scalloped walls which terminate in these quarter pipes that once again Jim Greco absolutely fucking killed. During the 1960s and 1970s, especially in downtown LA, they constructed all these elevated people mover bridges that moved important people from one space to another so that they would never have to have any contact with the people on the sidewalk. And just to compare it to another skate spot nearby, LA's DWP, built in the mid-1960s, DWP is about precision, symmetry, smooth surfaces. I mean, think of the type of skating, this immaculate, precise tech skating that happens at DWP, and then compare DWP to this space, this polyglot, dark, brooding, cynical, monumental, but overbearing fortress-like structure with these blind stairways and dark alleys. The optimism of the early 1960s in comparison to the absolute pessimism of the mid-1970s. That's why people have been able to skate here for so long, because other people actually hate this space. And so the reason that these quarter pipes exist, I would imagine, is that they serve to soften the harsh surfaces of this plaza. If you can't spend a lot of money on polished tiles, what you can do is create a fairly simple volcano-like 4-sided quarter pipe for your planters. Curved walls are inviting spaces. Instead of just like offering a flat wall, they invite you to engage with them in some way. Whether or not the landscape architecture firm intended for people to skate here, this ended up becoming one of the most interesting and challenging spots in downtown Los Angeles and quite possibly the world. These plazas became significant to skateboarders because of their failure as plazas, because of their failure of what they were intended to do. Skateboarding really shows you a way to recycle these neglected and forgotten spaces in the middle of cities.